Dodge is working hard to get the Daytona EV and the gas version out to the market, and it looks right now that they're actually going to drop the gas version a lot earlier than expected. So what we're going to do in this video is have a look at both the gas and the EV, because there are some substantial changes specifically in the front end to the design. So I'm going to show you both the gas and the EV. You let me know which one you prefer. I'm pretty sure I know which one I prefer when it comes to the design here. Before we do that, let's check out what's going on here with the Dodge Daytona, both the EV and the gas, and the timeline from these articles from Car Scoops. Gonna link them down in the description as always. A Dodge Inline 6 Charger may launch sooner than expected, and I do think that has to do with a lot of demand. People probably I talked about this in a video a while ago. I think they said that 4% of current Challenger owners would not even consider, would consider buying an EV muscle car. So the demand for the gas-powered Daytona is definitely high. It could arrive early summer 2025, 5 months earlier than initially scheduled. Stellantis is reportedly accelerating plans due to market demands and potential shift in upcoming regulations to EV specifically. So when Dodge revealed the new generation Charger earlier this year, it announced plans to launch the electric Daytona before the end of 2024, followed by the ICE Charger 6-pack in Q1 of 2025. However, as is often the case in the auto industry, this timeline quickly fell apart. We've seen that over and over again. Very optimistic timelines to begin with, and then they start to figure out, there's a lot more we need to do before launch this, so they push it back. Now, Dodge has already assembled test mules of the Charger at the Windsor assembly plant, indicating that pilot production could begin as early as December 2024. If all goes according to plan, the first examples could hit U.S. dealership by early summer 2025 rather than towards the end of the year. The decision is accelerated. The ICE Charger rollout could stem from several factors, including Trump's recent elections as the next U.S. president, which some fear could disrupt EV incentives and emission regulations as well. Another, perhaps less dramatic and more pragmatic explanation could be that the slower than expected EV adoption, specifically when it comes to the muscle car segment. And you can go back and check my video on that here on the channel about the percentages of people who owns a muscle car now, and the very, very low percentage of those people, how many would consider an EV for the next car, which remains firmly tied to the visceral appeal of internal combustion, of course, for the muscle car segment. Now, with the Dodge Challenger and Chevy Camaro both consigned to the history books, unfortunately, I would love to see another Camaro. I think the Camaro, the first, when did it come out? Like 2010, the first iteration of the new, retro-style Camaro was so good looking, and then it just turned into more of a sports car look and lost the muscle car look. I would like to go back to a more boxy shape for a Camaro. And as we know, the Mustang is the only remaining ICE-powered muscle car on sale, which both comes with a V8, and you can also get it with a manual transmission. They're kind of, I think it lacks competition for the Ford Mustang right now. They don't really have a lot of, the Challenger is gone. The Charger is also, the Charger's coming back, but it's not going to be the same as the previous one. It's not really a muscle car anymore. So Mustang has sort of the throne there when it comes to muscle cars on the market today. And they also stated that they're going to keep the V8 power Mustang in production for as long as possible, which is great news. It remains to be seen if the 6-cylinder Dodge Charger will be able to steal a portion of the pie when it arrives next year. I think it will probably be able to steal some part of those buyers, but it still feels like a very different car from the Mustang. To me, it just doesn't feel as, I don't know, it doesn't feel as much of a sport feel for the Charger than we do for the Mustang. So while its styling remains broadly consistent with the EV Charger Daytona, the internal combustion engine version stands apart with a few mild touches. I'm going to show you exactly what those touches are. You have a different hood, you have a different bumper, the bulging hood, as I said, and of course, in the back, you got dual exhaust pipes, of course. Dodge has already begun taking orders for the fully electric Charger Daytona as of mid-September 2024. Pricing start is just under $60,000, and first deliveries are scheduled for Q4 2024. Now, we do get both the EV and the gas, but we're not gonna get a manual transmission, and that is what I think the Ford Mustang is still going to be on top when it comes to people who want a brand new sort of muscle car, even though the Mustang is more of a sports car these days. So Dodge Charger 6-pack could get new ZF 8-speed auto, but no stick shift, unfortunately. It replaces the old torque flight that we had in, I do believe, the Charger. And this gearbox, this new 8-speed, could handle up to 600 pounds of torque with no problems whatsoever. The Charger 6-pack likely won't be offered with a manual, which I think is a mistake. This is one of these cars that I would definitely want to see with a manual transmission, specifically with this new 6-pack Hurricane engine that we're going to get for this car. The new gearbox is set to be the 880RE 8-speed automatic, and this transmission is based on ZF's 4th generation design. It can work with traditional ICE models as well as mild hybrids, and it can also work with plug-in hybrids. And in addition to that, it also supports a lot of powertrains. So this is a very this gearbox can basically be put into any car. You have the mild hybrids, the plug-in hybrids, ICE models, and then you also have them it can also be fitted to rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, or 4x4 configurations. You should also offer snappy changes while still being refined. So sort of a combination between sporty, probably going to have a bunch of drive modes in the new Charger, so you can go from comfort where, it's not as aggressive shifts. And then if you want to go for, twisty roads and have some fun, you can put it in sport, and it's probably going to sharpen up those changes. Some muscle car enthusiasts, including us here at Car Scoops, as they say here in the article, may be disappointed by the lack of manual gearbox in the new Charger 6-pack. I definitely am a little bit disappointed in that. I definitely want to see a manual transmission. So 2 versions of the Charger 6-pack are in the works. Both will use the same basic 3-liter twin turbocharged Hurricane Inline 6 that Jeep premiered a couple of years ago, and the entry level here delivers 420 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque, and the bigger one comes out at 550 horsepower and 550 pound-feet of torque. Both of them come with all-wheel drive as standard. Would it be nice to have maybe the entry level as a rear-wheel drive model with the manual again? That would be a great spec for a base Charger, in my opinion. So the all-electric version of the new Charger will be the first version to hit the market, with initial deliveries expected end of the year, and the gas-powered Charger 6-pack originally going to land in 2025, but as I said, it's supposed to be a lot earlier than that right now, as it looks right now. So very cool. I feel like they have, they need to get these cars out now. They've been talking about them for a long time. And as I said, the demand for the internal combustion engine is probably going to be a little bit higher than the EV. So of course, they want to make it a great seller from the get-go, and that means moving back the launch date a little bit for the gas version. So here we have both, and I want to show you the difference between the two, because there are some substantial differences here, specifically when you look at the front end and the hood design. So to the left, we do have the gas-powered here. You have the EV on the right side. Now, when it comes to the hood design, I really think that the EV has the coolest looking hood, because as you can see, we have this cut or dip, sort of Ferrari Pista-like airflow coming in here. So airflow is in right here into the hood and then shoots up above the hood, bringing it down, making this sort of like an integrated spoiler in the bodywork of the car. Then we have this very classic muscle car look that is the same, of course, for the internal combustion engine. This area down low looks also different from what we have on the internal combustion engine. We only need cooling at the very low bottom here, bottom section for the EV to cool the batteries. Now looking at the internal combustion gas engine here, gas version, you can see that the bumper is completely different, even though the side intakes looks to be pretty similar to what we have on the EV. They're a little bit sharper here. You see this corner, for example, right here, this corner that we have in for this intake. I'm not sure if this is even functional. I hope there is a slot here that shoots out some air, maybe into the wheel well or something like that. But the corner up top is sharper for the gas engine and gas-powered version, you can also see that we need a lot more cooling. So we don't have the hood design that we have on the EV. Instead, we have this big bulge, this muscle car bulge up top, which I think looks pretty cool to have this. When you're sitting in the car, in a muscle car, you definitely want to see the hood stretching out in front of you, and I do think they're going to achieve that with this type of hood. The top part here feels very similar to the EV, even though you can see behind here, looks like we have a radiator here. Of course, we need to cool the engine in this case. However, in the EV, this is completely open, and as I said, air just flows through here. But for the gas-powered, we need to have more cooling, so they open up a lot more cooling sections here. It looks like we have an additional cooling slot right here above the key graphics in the lower section of the front end of the gas-powered version here. And when it comes to the overall graphics, the EV looks very, very clean, but I do like the hood of the EV. But I do also like the front end graphics of the internal combustion engine here. So I would mix the two, but that's of course impossible because you can't have the EV hood on the gas-powered version. It's just not gonna work. You're not gonna be able to fit the the engine underneath. And here I wanted to show you this because here you can more clearly see the differences of the hood design. Very substantial bulge on the gas-powered version here, sticking up very high up. I like that. I want to see some impractical design features for a muscle car like this. I also like this line right here, even though I maybe think this curvature here is a little too high, too curved. As a muscle car, I want to have it be more straight like this, but that's just a small detail. Here you can also see the different cooling features that we have for the internal combustion engine version. I actually think that this is just a fake vent. I'm not sure, but it doesn't look open to me, and it doesn't look like we would have any space here to open this up. I can't see it from this angle, but if we were to have that, this lower section would look something like this. Then I could see that we have maybe a slot there that goes in for the air to flow through. But in this case, I do think that is actually a fake vent. And then again, looking at the EV here with this dip in the hood, both of these hoods just look very cool, very different. And I do like to see these substantial differences between the EV and the internal combustion engine. Just makes them feel like two almost completely separate models. And it's very easy to see if it's the EV or if it's the internal combustion engine version. Basically look at how big is this intake at the lower section. Does it have this additional piece in the bumper sticking up here and carving out some pieces of the bumper? That means that you have the gas powered. If it's all covered up like we have here, that means that you do have the EV. Now looking at the rear end, last but not least, the biggest changes here is of course only going to be one single change, and that is these beauties down here on the internal combustion engine version. Yes, we do have dual exhaust pipes. Hopefully it sounds good. I have driven the Hurricane Inline 6 in the new 2025 Rams. Doesn't sound that great in the Rebel or the Bighorn that I reviewed a couple of months back, but hopefully they tune it a little bit different here so you can have some nice noise, even though it's not going to be a V8 rumble. Of course, that is exclusive these days for the Ford Mustang. And down here, no exhaust pipes, of course, in the EV, but we do have a blacked out diffuser, pretty similar to the diffuser that we have on the internal combustion engine. So I'm excited to see these. Both of these out on the roads. I'm excited to see how they move when you see them in real life, because seeing it in videos and photos, it's always completely different from when you see them in person. So I'm gonna hold my final judgment until I get to see one of these cars in person and also listen to what this Hurricane engine inline 6 is going to sound like. Let me know which one you would choose, the EV or the gas. Comment down below. I want to see the ratio between what people would actually choose in real life.